You send another text explaining yourself for the third time today. Your heart races as you watch those three dots appear and disappear. You know you did nothing wrong, but somehow you are the one apologizing again. You know this feeling. If you have ever wondered why intelligent, capable people stay trapped in relationships that slowly destroy them, this video reveals the hidden psychology that keeps you bonded to someone who hurts you, and the exact mental patterns you can interrupt starting today. This is called trauma bonding, and it is one of the most misunderstood patterns in relationship psychology. Here's how it started. As children, many of us learned that love comes with conditions. We learned that affection arrives after we perform correctly, that connection requires us to minimize our needs, or that safety means staying hypervigilant to someone else's emotional state. Fast forward to adulthood, and that same nervous system mistakes chaos for chemistry and punishment for passion. But here is what most people miss. Your brain is not broken. It is doing exactly what it was trained to do. It is trying to solve an old problem using the only strategy it knows. Let me break down 3 psychological mechanisms that keep smart people locked in toxic relationships. First, intermittent reinforcement. This is the most powerful conditioning pattern in behavioral psychology. When someone is sometimes wonderful and sometimes cruel, your brain becomes addicted to solving the puzzle of their behavior. A slot machine does not pay out every time, and that is exactly why people cannot stop pulling the lever. In a toxic relationship, the occasional moment of warmth after days of coldness creates a dopamine spike stronger than consistent love ever could. Think about the last time your partner was suddenly kind after a week of silent treatment. That relief you felt was not love. It was your nervous system getting its fix. Your brain literally craves the resolution of tension more than it craves actual safety. Do you see how this pattern shows up in your life? The highs feel higher because the lows are so devastating. Second, cognitive dissonance reduction. When your actions do not match your beliefs, your brain experiences psychological pain. You believe you are smart, capable, and deserving of respect, but you are staying with someone who treats you terribly. To reduce this mental discomfort, your brain does not change your behavior. Instead, it changes your beliefs. You start telling yourself stories. Maybe they had a hard childhood. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe this is just what real love looks like. Maybe everyone struggles like this. Your mind is not gaslighting you on purpose. It is trying to make sense of why a smart person like you would accept this treatment. The answer it creates is that the treatment must not actually be that bad. What if I told you that the stories you tell yourself to stay are more creative than any story you would ever accept from a friend in the same situation? Third, the sunk cost fallacy. The longer you have invested in something, the harder it becomes to walk away, even when walking away is the rational choice. You have spent 3 years, 5 years, maybe a decade trying to make this work. You have canceled plans, lost friendships, changed your personality, and absorbed so much pain. Your brain whispers that leaving now would mean all that suffering was for nothing. But here's the truth. The time you have already lost does not come back whether you stay or leave. You are not honoring your past investment by investing more years into pain. You are just compounding the loss. This is where most people get stuck. But there is a hidden reason why walking away feels impossible even when you know you should. The reason is that toxic relationships do not just hurt you. They rewire your identity. You have spent so long managing someone else's emotions, predicting their moods, and editing yourself to keep the peace that you have forgotten who you are without this job. Leaving does not just mean losing a partner. It means losing the role that has given your life structure, even if that structure was a cage. Your nervous system interprets the fear of the unknown as more dangerous than the pain of the known. Here is what this pattern costs you. Your body keeps the score even when your mind makes excuses. Chronic stress from relational trauma shows up as insomnia, digestive issues, autoimmune flares, and a baseline anxiety that never fully goes away. You stop trusting your own perceptions because you have been told so many times that your reality is wrong. You lose friendships because isolation is easier than explaining why you are still there. You become a smaller, quieter version of yourself, and the saddest part is you start to believe that smaller version is who you really are. But here's the good news. You were not born broken. You were trained to survive. Every behavior that keeps you in this relationship made perfect sense at some point in your life. Staying small kept you safe. Over-explaining protected you from anger. Absorbing blame kept the peace. These were intelligent adaptations. They are just not serving you anymore. Here is how you start interrupting the pattern. Not by leaving tomorrow, not by having the perfect conversation, but by rebuilding trust with your own nervous system one micro step at a time. Step 1. Name the pattern when it is happening. The next time you feel that familiar knot in your stomach, pause and say out loud or in your mind, "This is intermittent reinforcement," or "This is cognitive dissonance." Naming the mechanism breaks its invisibility. You are not overreacting. You are recognizing a psychological pattern, and recognition is the first form of resistance. Step 2. Track one feeling this week without explaining it away. Choose one emotion that shows up in your relationship. Maybe it is dread when you hear their key in the door. Maybe it is relief when they leave for work. Write it down. Do not justify it. Do not rationalize it. Do not fix it. Just notice it. Your feelings are data, not evidence of your weakness. When you stop dismissing your emotional truth, you start rebuilding your inner compass. Step 3. Give yourself permission to want more than crumbs. Write this sentence down. I am allowed to want a relationship where I do not have to earn basic kindness. Read it every morning for a week. You have spent so long adjusting your expectations downward that wanting softness, consistency, and respect feels greedy. It is not. It is baseline. Step 4. Tell one safe person the truth. Not the edited version. Not the version where you protect your partner's reputation. Tell someone you trust one thing that happened this week that made you feel small. Toxic relationships thrive in secrecy. The moment you let light in, the moment you hear someone reflect back that what you experienced was not okay, the spell starts to crack. You need a witness to your reality because you have been told for too long that your reality does not count. Step 5. Begin imagining a life without this fear. Not imagining leaving. Not planning an exit. Just imagine waking up without that heaviness. Imagine a Sunday afternoon without walking on eggshells. Imagine a conversation where you do not have to prescript your words to avoid an explosion. Your brain has been so focused on survival that it has forgotten to imagine freedom. Reclaiming your imagination is reclaiming your future. You do not have to do all of these at once. Pick one. Do it badly. Do it imperfectly. Do it scared. The point is not to be ready. The point is to remember that you are still in there, under all the accommodating and apologizing. You are still in there. You send another text explaining yourself. But this time, before you hit send, you pause. You notice the tightness in your chest. You name it. And maybe, just maybe, you delete the text and put the phone down. That pause is where your power lives. Watch my video on the psychology of people who cannot say no to understand how boundary loss begins in childhood and how to rebuild your ability to protect your own energy. Comment below with one word that describes how you are feeling right now after watching this. Subscribe for weekly psychology insights that help you understand yourself and reclaim your inner world.